When no one else believes in you, can you still believe in yourself? There was a time I thought confidence was walking into a room and having every eye turned toward me. But I've come to realize real confidence is when no one's looking at you, and you still feel enough. We spend so much of our lives trying to be trustworthy in other people's eyes, but we forget that true confidence begins when we can trust ourselves. Hi there, I'm Wendy, and this is the Heal and Grow podcast, a soft landing place for your heart at the end of the day. Every night, you're welcome to come back here, to breathe, to reflect, and to gently refill your inner light so that tomorrow you can rise a little lighter and love a little deeper. In this episode, I want to walk with you through 5 small but powerful ways to rebuild your confidence from within. Not the kind that needs applause or validation, but the quiet kind, the kind that stays steady even when everything around you falls apart. Because the truest confidence comes from a place no one else can touch, except you. There was a time when I told myself, starting tomorrow, I'll wake up early. But then, again and again, I hit the snooze button. It sounds small, I know, but every time I broke that promise, I felt a little weaker, like a quiet crack forming in my own trust. And that's when I realized confidence doesn't begin with compliments. It begins with promises, not the ones you make to others, but the ones you make to yourself. Because if you don't believe you'll follow through on your own words, how can you believe you're strong enough to do something bigger? So I started small, no more snooze, just get up, not trying to change my whole life, just trying to win one small battle with myself each day. Discipline is the highest form of self-love. Discipline isn't punishment. It's the deepest form of respect you can give yourself. Every time you keep your word, you're whispering to your own heart, I can trust myself. And those moments, they don't just build habits. They rebuild faith. Trust is built in drops and lost in buckets. Each small action is a single drop. Over time, those drops gather into a steady lake of confidence, one that no one can take away, because it's built by your own hands. There was a time when I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. Not because I thought I was ugly, but because every time I looked into my own eyes, I saw someone pretending to be okay. I still smiled, still said, I'm fine. But inside, I was a mess of emotions, sad, exhausted, and a little ashamed, because deep down I knew I was running away. I thought that if I just kept acting strong, everything would eventually be okay. But the more I pretended, the weaker I felt, because carrying a mask for too long is heavy. Then one night, I just couldn't keep going anymore. I sat down in the dark, and for the first time, I asked myself, what am I really feeling? No more excuses, no more fake optimism. Just me and the truth. And you know what? It hurt. But in that pain, I also felt something else. Relief. Relief because finally, I wasn't running anymore. That was the moment I realized confidence doesn't come from pretending to be okay. It comes from the courage to say, I'm not okay right now, but I'm willing to face it. When we keep promises to ourselves, or when we dare to face the truth, we are building self-trust, not just polishing a perfect image of who we want to be. Researcher Brené Brown from the University of Houston once said, Self-trust is the root of self-confidence. True confidence doesn't come from being perfect, but from believing that I can face it, even when I'm not perfect. When you face the truth, you don't get weaker, you grow stronger, because you're telling yourself, I trust that I can handle this. From that moment on, I started trusting myself a little more every day. Not in the way that says, I'm flawless, but in the way that says, even when I'm hurt, I'm still okay. And I realized, real confidence isn't about being fearless. It's about knowing exactly where your fear is and walking forward anyway. So if today you feel tired, please don't force yourself to pretend. Just pause and gently ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Because sometimes the moment you dare to face the truth is the moment you finally come home to yourself. And from that place, confidence, trust, and peace will slowly find their way back to you. There were times when I gave everything I had, worked hard, stayed consistent, kept showing up, and still, the results didn't come. Everyone else seemed to move forward, getting promoted, praised, recognized, while I stood quietly at a crossroads, asking myself, am I doing something wrong? Those were long, exhausting days when my faith wavered and I started doubting my own worth. But after many rounds of burnout, I finally realized every seed needs darkness and time before it can sprout. No flower blooms overnight. There's a quote from Lao Tzu that I've always loved. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. It's the same with your journey. You're not behind. You're simply growing at your own pace. The results just need a little more time to blossom. Confidence isn't about believing I will win. It's about believing I will not give up. Because every time you survive a hard day, every time you keep going even when no one notices, you're quietly proving to yourself, I'm strong enough to continue. This journey might not be fast, it might not be easy, but it's yours, and no one can take that away from you. How long has it been since you truly sat still, just to listen to yourself? I used to hate silence. When I was sad, I turned the music up. When I was lonely, I buried myself in work. When I was hurt, I kept myself busy, just so I wouldn't have to feel. But the more I ran, the emptier I became. Empty enough that even surrounded by noise, I could still hear the quiet beat of my own loneliness. Until one day, I turned off my phone, made a cup of tea, and simply sat there. No messages, no distractions, no pretending. And for the first time in a long while, I felt present. You can't heal what you don't feel. You can't heal what you refuse to face. When you finally stay with yourself, you begin to hear the voice within. You know what you need, where it hurts, and what truly matters. From that stillness, you live with more intention, more peace, and more confidence. Because deep down you know, I am living true to myself. A person who learns to be with themselves no longer chases validation from the world. And a person who never abandons themselves becomes someone no one else can shake. There was a time when I said yes to almost everything, even when my heart wanted to say no. I said yes because I didn't want to disappoint anyone. Because I was afraid they'd think I was selfish. Because I thought being kind meant always being available. But every time I nodded while my heart whispered, don't, a small part of me disappeared. And then I realized, every time you dare to say no, you're sending yourself a message. My feelings and my needs matter too. That's not selfish. That's self-respect. If you keep saying yes just to please others, your mind slowly learns to believe that your opinions don't matter. And little by little, you lose self-trust, the deepest foundation of confidence. But every time you say no to something that doesn't feel right, you rebuild that trust, as if whispering to yourself, I can trust myself to protect me. Saying no doesn't close doors. It creates space for what truly belongs to you. Confidence doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing what's right for you. Because when you say no to what drains you, you make room to say yes to what makes you come alive. And that quiet realization that you're using your energy wisely, that you're living in alignment with your values, that's where true confidence begins. So the next time you hesitate, remember this. Each honest no you say is also a gentle yes to your peace, your worth, and your truth. Because a person who can stand firmly and say no with love is someone no one else can shake. Thank you for staying until the end of this episode. If today you still feel like you're not strong enough, not confident enough, remember, you don't need to have everything figured out to start believing in yourself. Every time you keep a small promise, face the truth, continue your journey, show up for yourself, and protect your own heart, you're quietly rebuilding your confidence, drop by drop, and I hope after listening to this, you'll smile softly and whisper to yourself, I'm not perfect, but I'm enough. If you're hearing these words, know that you're already on the right path. The road might still be long, but every small step you take today is leading you toward a stronger, softer version of you, gentle yet unshakable. Thank you for listening, and thank you for never giving up on yourself. Come Back to Heal and Grow podcast each night, so with every passing day, you can learn to trust yourself a little more. This is Wendy, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Sleep well.